You've heard of Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto. These cities are global icons. But beyond the neon lights, anime, and bullet trains, there's another Japan. You might be surprised to learn that nearly half the country is covered in mountains, forests, and farmland. And this rural Japan is changing dramatically. As Japan grapples with an aging population, a shrinking workforce, and a housing surplus, it's becoming clear that revitalizing its countryside isn't just a nice idea, it's an economic necessity. But why should anyone want to live in rural Japan? And how can it be made attractive to younger generations? Is it possible to breathe new life into these communities? Let's take a closer look at the challenges and opportunities presented by Japan's countryside today. In a nutshell, Japan is facing a quiet crisis. While Tokyo gleams with futuristic towers, advanced technology, and bustling energy, the other side of the country, the peaceful countryside, faces a different reality. Since the 1990s, Japan's rural areas have experienced a steady decline in population. Young people leave their hometowns in search of bright city lights and better career prospects, only to seldom return. They settle down in urban centers, leaving behind the landscapes of their youth, which then become less and less inhabited. This trend has created several issues for rural Japan. First, let's take a look at the most visible issue, the abundance of empty houses, commonly known as IKEA. With no one to inherit them, many elderly homeowners sadly pass away without selling their houses. Even if they do, few urbanites are interested in purchasing a rural property. The result is over 8 million vacant homes spread across Japan, taking up valuable resources and affecting the overall economy. Next, let's consider the impact on public services. With fewer people living in rural areas, local governments must scale down services like transportation, healthcare, and education. For instance, due to dwindling student numbers, many schools have closed down. Now, school closures might sound insignificant on the surface, but they signify a bigger problem. When schools shut down, so do numerous ancillary businesses like stationery stores, uniform shops, and even lunchboxes that cater to students. This ripple effect extends throughout the local economy, leading to further population decline as young families move to urban areas where more services are available. Finally, the social aspect should not be overlooked. An aging population, accompanied by a declining birth rate, exacerbates the risk of social isolation and loneliness. With fewer people to socialize with and limited access to urban amenities, many seniors feel cut off from the world. This becomes a vicious cycle. Fewer people lead to fewer businesses, fewer services, and eventually fewer reasons to stay in these regions. But all is not lost. Although rural Japan faces numerous challenges, the situation is far from hopeless. The country has taken significant steps to address these problems. But before discussing the solutions, let's also highlight the positive aspects of rural life in Japan. Living in Japan's countryside offers a unique blend of tranquility and charm that can be appealing to those seeking a simpler way of life. Imagine waking up to the chirping of birds instead of traffic noise, breathing in fresh air, and seeing clear skies unobstructed by tall buildings. Small towns and villages in Japan offer exactly this kind of serene environment. Furthermore, houses in rural areas tend to be more affordable than those in bustling cities like Tokyo. So if you dream of owning your own home, the countryside might make that dream a reality sooner rather than later. Moreover, many rural communities are rich in history and culture. You can find well-preserved temples, shrines, and traditional crafts that have been passed down through generations. Experiencing and being a part of these cultural traditions can be incredibly enriching. Another often overlooked benefit of living in rural Japan is the abundance of nature and outdoor activities. Whether it's hiking in the mountains, it's fishing in a nearby lake, or simply taking a stroll through a picturesque bamboo forest, there is always something to marvel at in the great outdoors. Lastly, while some might argue that rural Japan lacks employment opportunities, it's worth noting that many remote jobs can be done from anywhere with an internet connection. If you're a freelancer or work in a field that allows remote work, rural Japan can offer the perfect setting to maintain productivity while enjoying a slower pace of life. Now, let's talk about how Japan is working towards a solution. Japan has taken notice of the challenges facing its rural communities and has begun implementing strategies to tackle them. One of the most notable efforts is the government School Japan. campaign aimed at promoting rural tourism and highlighting the unique appeal of Japan's countryside. By encouraging tourists to explore rural areas, the government seeks to stimulate local economies and raise awareness about the beauty and charm of regional Japan. Another initiative is the Regional Revitalization Headquarters, a government body established to address the specific issues faced by each region and develop tailored solutions for their unique circumstances. By adopting a localized approach, the headquarters ensures that policies are more effective in driving positive change. Moreover, Japan has implemented policies to make it more attractive for young people to settle in rural areas. For example, the government offers subsidies for couples who choose to marry and start a family in the countryside. Additionally, tax breaks and financial incentives are provided to businesses that create jobs and contribute to the revitalization of rural communities. While these initiatives show promise, it's essential to recognize that revitalizing rural Japan will require long-term commitment and collaboration between the government, local communities, and individuals. Sustainable change can only be achieved by fostering a sense of ownership and participation from all stakeholders. But why revitalizing rural Japan makes sense? There's a compelling argument for investing in rural areas. By doing so, Japan can spread its population more evenly across its vast landscape, reducing the strain on its major cities and boosting local economies. The benefits are manifold. First and foremost, rural revitalization can alleviate the severe housing shortage in Tokyo, with approximately 30% of Japan's population concentrated in the greater Tokyo area. The demand for housing far outstrips supply, leading to skyrocketing prices. Encouraging people to move to rural areas can help ease this pressure and stabilize housing costs in the long run. Moreover, spreading the population can help address income inequality. Tokyo's intense competition for jobs and high living costs often put immense pressure on individuals, particularly young people. By creating more opportunities and incentives in rural areas, Japan can offer its citizens a better quality of life without the constant financial stress. Investing in rural areas can also unlock economic potential. Many rural communities have abundant natural resources and untapped potential for industries such as agriculture, forestry, and tourism. By supporting these sectors and creating more jobs, Japan can stimulate local economies and drive balanced regional growth. Furthermore, revitalizing rural areas can provide much-needed support for Japan's aging population. As the country faces an aging crisis, it's crucial to ensure that elderly citizens receive adequate care and support. Smaller communities can offer a more personalized and attentive environment for seniors, helping them maintain a high quality of life as they age. Lastly, it's worth noting that rural revitalization aligns with Japan's rich history of craftsmanship and local traditions. By preserving and promoting local industries such as pottery, textiles, and woodworking, Japan can maintain its cultural heritage while creating unique products that attract both domestic and international customers. However, despite these compelling reasons, revitalizing rural Japan is not without its challenges. One significant obstacle is the lack of amenities and services in rural areas. Many small towns and villages may not have access to essential services such as healthcare facilities, childcare centers, and even basic infrastructure like high-speed internet. Addressing these issues is crucial to make rural areas more attractive to young families and remote workers. Another challenge is the limited job market in rural areas. Many young people seek employment in industries that are typically concentrated in urban centers. Without sufficient job opportunities, rural areas may struggle to retain and attract talent, perpetuating a cycle of population decline. Moreover, the aging infrastructure in some rural areas can be a deterrent. Older housing stock and outdated infrastructure may not appeal to those accustomed to the modern conveniences found in cities. Investing in infrastructure upgrades can make rural areas more livable, but it requires significant financial resources. Social isolation is another concern. Rural communities often have an older population, and a lack of community services can leave newcomers feeling disconnected. Building a sense of community and belonging is vital to ensure that newcomers feel welcome and supported. But arguably the biggest challenge is the mindset shift needed to make rural revitalization successful. Many Japanese still associate success and opportunity primarily with living in or near Tokyo, changing this perception and showing that thriving can happen elsewhere. It's essential to shift people's attitudes and behaviors. Despite these challenges, the potential benefits of rural revitalization are too great to ignore. By investing in rural Japan and addressing these obstacles, the country can build a more balanced, sustainable, and resilient future. If you're curious about similar topics, here are some related videos you might enjoy. Thank you for watching. Feel free to leave a like and subscribe to our channel.